Okay, Mari-Lyn,
Yes.
I have 3 words. New Year's resolution.
Oof. Okay. For
Yes,
me,
yes.
I prefer to use New Year's intentions
I like that.
because I have never set a New Year's resolution that I have
You have
followed.
kept? Right.
Never,
Me either. Me either.
ever,
Yeah, yeah,
ever.
yes.
I don't know how old I was when I first started setting them, but it's been a long time.
Long time. Long time, long time.
But New Year's intentions are for me more meaningful
And realistic.
and realistic. And would you like to know my New Year's intentions?
I would, if you don't mind telling.
Well, one of my New Year's intentions is to really discover what fulfills me.
Wow.
And I'm talking on a personal level
Wow.
because professionally, my
Yes,
cup runneth over. I am
yes,
very fulfilled professionally.
yes.
But
Now that's an intention. Seriously, like that is that's the kind of intentions that we are meant to make.
yeah,
Really, really. That's beautiful. Okay, go ahead.
yeah.
I just
Well,
the sort of the gravity of it just sort of hit me.
because right now, we are in the last week
Yes.
of the year.
Woo, woo.
And so
See it 2022.
looking back and looking forward,
Mhm.
I kind of find myself in this uh limbo almost
Mm.
because it's been a huge year.
Woof.
Personally and professionally, it's been a year full of change and oof, what's the
Yeah.
next year going to bring considering all the change that has happened
Yes.
in my life and
Yes.
what or I'm going to say where
Hmm.
I used to find some fulfillment.
Yes.
That dynamic has changed.
Yes.
So now what?
Hmm. Yeah.
So that is probably my biggest New Year's intention.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
And one that, oh man, so much comes with that. So, well, you know how we talk about we're never off our path ever,
Right. Always on our path.
always. And even those, or especially those times when we, we, I think I'm sure I even said the term as well. Oh, I got off my path there for a minute. I got to get back on. Or
Right.
whatever those.
But that's when we're really on
Yes,
our path.
that's where I was going with that. Yes,
That's
that
when we're
is,
really on there.
yes.
So I am smack dab
You
on my path
are.
right now, man.
Yes, those are prime learning times.
Yeah.
That's when we're really learning. We're really healing. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. That's it. So when we feel off our path, that saying, whatever,
Right.
that's really, we did. So we're not really on a detour, but I will use the word detour in spirit says, oh, hold up. You just bypassed that back there. I'm going to take you around over here because you need to heal something. And it feels like we've taken a detour. It feels like we've gotten off our path. And And we haven't. We just get stopped in our tracks. Like,
Is that because we're not allowed the shortcut? We have to take
yes,
the full long route.
yes. If we really want fulfillment,
yeah,
which is what you're asking for,
yep,
I'm here to tell you it's going to be a bumpy year, but it's going to be so worth it and beautiful, right? I mean, how many times?
Well, I'm hoping it's not going to take the whole year.
No, that's true. That's true. And it probably won't. It most likely won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to say, for me personally, considering the healing that I have done,
yes,
I trust that is going to help my discovery along.
yes, yes. And I do want to, this sort of leads me into, so not just what is fulfillment? I mean, that's a huge question, and that's really kind of different for, I think that the umbrella is the same, or the whatever is the same, whatever. For those of you who are just listening, I'm flinging my hands around in a weird thing, like figure eight thing, trying to,
right. The main concept of fulfillment is basically the same, but what does that for each person is so individual.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to say is, this is where I was going with that, hand gestures. And you can thank my dad for that, my Italian dad. I'm just saying, the man, we'd always say if he sat on his hands, he couldn't talk. So, because it had to be moving. Oh, where was I going with that? I
told you mentioned your dad, and you just
I know, Dad, and he always comes in when I say his name, so he's here, and his energy is so beautiful and lovely, and there's something. So we're gonna go off track for just a second. I can speak to my dad whenever I want to, and I still miss him terribly. You know, you miss that in-person.
Yes.
That in-person time, that his, just the way he, you know, when he would say everything's going to be okay, you believed it. You knew that to be true.
Yep.
And there are times when I still, even though, like right now, he says, well, I can say that, you know, like he can, but it's not, and it is wonderful. And there are times, you know, Mari-Lyn, when I've needed him to come in and tell me that.
Yes.
But there's nothing like when he was physically here. I mean,
no, because the vibration is so different.
So different.
Yeah.
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 So fulfillment, I guess this is where I was going, is that, thanks, Dad. Whatever we think fulfillment isn't always fulfillment. Like, we see someone who has a lot of money. Oh, that's what I want. If I only had all of that money.
If I only.
Yes, if I only. Or that's my idea of success. And success is fulfillment. And I'm here to tell y'all, nope. It's a beautiful, you know, having some of us, you know, there's success is different for everyone. Fulfillment is different, but that's not what that is. I guess man, when you're thinking of fulfillment, I think we get fulfillment and success confused. That's where
I think you're right. I think
where I was going
very, very often, I think that's true.
Yes.
While you were talking, I mean,
babbling.
Going through my brain. Okay, so what could fulfill you? And you know, the first thing that came to my mind was a full day without turning on the TV.
Wow. Okay. So that's some self-care or some.
Well, that's almost embarrassing to say out loud. But I really have. I have fallen into the habit
Mhm.
of, oh, I don't have any sessions today. I'm just going to sit in front of the TV
Yes.
and rest.
Yes. Yes.
It's a lie.
Yes.
It's a lie. And I know
Yes.
the best way I know that that's a lie is how I feel in the middle of the day or at the end of the day.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, I just spent blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
when you
blah,
look
blah,
back and
watching blah, blah,
go,
blah, blah, blah.
man, yeah,
And my body hurts
yes,
and I'm a little cranky.
yes,
And you do that day after day after day after day. And I am here to tell you that is not fulfilling.
no, no. And not to say that I'm going to take a break and I'm going to watch this movie or I'm going to watch a couple episodes of something. There's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes
Nothing
we
at all.
need that. We need our brain to be focused on something and just let everything else fall away. But when it's like that entire day of,
Yeah.
yeah,
And if your body really needs rest
yeah,
and you choose, to binge watch TV for a day,
yeah,
again, that's something different. That's okay.
absolutely. Yeah,
But the habit that I have fallen into, that I have allowed myself,
yes,
I've consciously made the decision.
yes,
Okay, I'll stop beating myself up.
yes, thank you.
Uh,
Be nice to my friend.
but I have. And my intention is to stop that and
So,
find that thing.
okay, I was going to ask, so
Yep.
what then would you fill that day with? How would it be fulfilling? So I get that really giving that up or stop doing that is
Yes.
part of fulfilling yourself. But
Yes.
then, so you've released something, so then what do you fill up
What do I
with?
fill it with?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Is it a job outside of my house?
Mhm. Ew. For those
Is
of you
it
who can't see the disgust on her face when she said that. Yes.
is
And
it
I know that one too.
volunteering? Is
Right.
it volunteering?
Right.
Is it getting back into my sewing room?
Right.
I don't know.
Yes.
I
Is
don't
it
know.
speaking up for yourself? Is it like really fulfillment could be so many things, not just 3D things, but what is it that empowers me? What is it that really fills my cup? Is it,
Right.
and I know that feeling, and I know you do too, after we've done some healing, like when we do the big stuff, like that takes months to sort of
Ooh.
move
Yeah.
through, that kind of stuff you get at the end of it,
Yeah.
and it feels so amazing because you just let all that go, and then you have the opportunity to say, okay, what do I fill up with now?
Yeah.
That's that's for, yeah. And it, yeah. Just, yeah. Yeah. So for me, I think, so for, I'm sure some of you know this, and I'm sure I've mentioned it at some point, but I was a stay-at-home mom. And then as they got older, I would get little part-time jobs here or there just to get out. Any of you who know what it's like to only have the name of mom, which is a beautiful name and I love it, but you need to hear adults talking. You need to be called by your first name and all of that. And so there was a period in there that, my kids weren't quite, I didn't really step into being a professional, what I would consider to be a professional in this business, a professional multidimensional energy healer. I'd been doing it for a long time, but the professional part didn't come until my kids were grown. And I'm not sure how much I was fulfilled that whole time. I remember sort of running around trying to find something to fulfill me, and nothing was ever satisfying. And I've done enough volunteering for 10 lifetimes. And then if you add my husband, how much he's done in there, it's, between the two of us, oof, lots of lifetimes. And that wasn't fulfilling either, because it wasn't what was truly me coming out on the inside. There was something about,
Right.
that healing, and that um because when you're running around and you're not healed, you're an unhealed person, um you're still like making excuses for yourself, or standing up straighter when that certain person comes in the room, because you suck in your stomach and you don't, what, like, you're still wearing
That's
those masks.
that's an indicator. Shoot.
that that clued me into, like, oh shoot, I'm not being very authentic, and how can I be fulfilled if I'm not being authentic, if I still care
Right.
so much about the way this looks. And I never had to
Right.
prove anything. No one has to prove anything to anyone, but for some reason
Ooh,
we kind of feel like we do.
we do, don't we?
Yeah.
We really get into that
Yeah. To whom?
proving that we have worth.
Yes. To people who don't give a crap about us is usually the biggest. Those
Yeah.
are usually those people who for myself, I will say this. I had a lot of wounding around envy, not jealousy. Jealousy is jealous of what someone has, like the cars and the clothes and what. That's never been part of my makeup, but the envy. And I realized, because like I'd see these really appeared to be very strong, fabulous women with these crazy, fabulous careers. And, oh man, did I envy that. I envied it so much. And then when I started healing that, as Mari-Lyn knows, you've been a big part of me healing that, it was because I just wasn't fulfilled with myself. And truly, if you were, if you look at those women, there's other parts in their life where they're not fulfilled. That just happens to be where they might be a rock star. Or maybe that's just sort of that, what do you call it, Mari-Lyn? I can't think of the name when I'm trying to go for, but their highlight reel.
Their highlight reel. Yes.
Yes. And being fulfilled for me is learning what fills my cup, what brings me joy, where I am the most authentic and the most honest with myself and others. And like right now, I struggle with, I gained some weight over these holidays, let me tell you.
Me too.
Oh
Oh,
boy, oh boy.
oof.
And so you've inspired me, Mari-Lyn, to not set that resolution, to set the intention, maybe not necessarily to lose the weight. How about to just my health?
Yes, that is another one of my intentions is and this this is an intention that I have failed to meet
Hmm.
this year,
Okay.
but it is healthier eating.
Ah, yes.
Healthier eating, and that's really doing myself a favor.
Yes. Yes.
Um and I haven't done it. I
And,
just haven't.
and that's a piece of fulfillment, don't you think? You can feel health from the
Ooh,
inside out. Yeah, no?
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
that really struck me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
If you don't feel good physically,
right.
it's hard to be positive and feel good in other places of your life or other.
So I think an intention for the new year is going to be changing my criteria of self-care.
Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna have to write
Yeah.
that down. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget.
Yeah, changing my criteria of self-care. And I know that I have an adopted thought of what self-care is.
Hmm.
And part of that is resting in front of the TV
Hmm.
because my mother couldn't sit still for anything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she could be wrung out, dog tired,
Yeah.
and she was still doing.
Yes.
And I grabbed a hold of that and went, oh, nope, I'm going to take care of
Right.
myself.
And you know what? What she did was just as destructive
Yes.
because she didn't take the time.
Yes.
When you're dead dog tired, you need to
Yes.
self-care.
So here's two extremes.
Yes, yes. And at the same time, they're doing the same damage.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, really reevaluating and changing what that means for me. What is self-care?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, I'm gonna admit this.
Okay,
I
go for it.
oh Lord. So we have had so much candy and pastry and stuff in the house. And um so my husband, he lots of clients and things, and they bring goodies constantly, and he tells everyone in the office, take it home, take it home, like, but there's just so much, so he would bring some home or whatever. Plus I would buy stuff because there are things that you can only get during Christmas time.
Yep.
I don't know how many of you know Pan and Tone. Oh, oh, so good. It's like oh my god, it's so good. Anyway, and they had a different flavor out this year, so I had to buy the other flavor.
Of
And I had,
course.
but here's what I'm going to tattle on myself.
Okay.
Um, I sat yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, with a stomach ache, so sick, and I knew it was all the crap that I've been eating for days and days and days, and I still went in to the kitchen. And my daughter-in-law had made, she's a wonderful baker, and she made these incredible, as she always does, these cookies. And I just sat there with the stomach ache and continued to eat. I continued to stuff, even though I knew that was giving me the stomach ache. This was not making it better. I have a sugar addiction. I mean, it was just, I had a headache, I had a stomach ache.
There was no moderation there at
None,
all.
none,
No moderation
none.
in the least.
Yes, no. I even sat there with a heat pad on my gut because I felt so sick eating. Like, that's how, in front of the TV. That's, yeah. So I'm totally telling on myself. That was this gluttonous, selfish, really very selfish. I was not listening to my Dava. She was screaming at me, please, Pam, stop. Stop. I can't take this. I'm going to be sick. And I just kept on to go, kept on it. So yeah. Oh man. So I need to get back to, yes. But I can, oh, here's one. I can still
Okay.
fool myself because my husband's a really healthy eater, and he's vegetables. He's not a vegetarian by any means, but lots of vegetables and fruit, and he eats very healthy. And as long as I have like a meal, I had a meal a day with him that was healthy. I put a few extra vegetables on my plate, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah,
That is justifying your addiction.
yes.
Just gonna say
Ugh.
justification. And it's okay.
Ugh. I guess so. But that was not very kind, and that was not so here's a question, another question for you.
Yes. Yes.
What was I fulfilling there? It wasn't a healthy fulfillment. It wasn't fulfilling Pam in a beautiful, spiritual, yummy way. But I was getting some reward, right? There was something I was fulfilling within me.
Yes.
And that's a no bueno.
And there always is, when we are overindulging,
Mm-hmm.
we are always trying to fill a need.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So
And yes.
no, continue. If you, I just so I could have said I took a detour off my path. I fell off my path. I went a different direction.
Yes.
But
You could.
I could, but
But that's not what happened.
That's not true.
That is not what happened.
No.
You were fully on your path.
Yeah.
And you overindulged for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's part of being on our path, is being aware of these signs that there's something to look at. Even if it's minuscule,
Yes.
there's still something to look at.
And I made excuses too. So I'm talking to you as my healer.
So
So I was also making excuses like, well, I had a really big day. I had
sure.
a big appointment with Mishi, one of my lovely students, one of my top students, and she had to walk away for a few months. She had to walk away for a while,
Yeah.
and she's sort of coming back now. So we had this beautiful. It felt like a reunion. It was so beautiful, but there was a lot of energy there. And then we had with another one of my students and Mari-Lyn, the three of us had this alignment, attunement, ignition.
Amazing.
Wow. And it was huge. And I'm still shifting.
As am I.
But
Yeah.
last night, that was my excuse. Well, I'm shifting, so I'm just gonna blank out on TV and continue to eat, even though my body is telling me to stop.
You tricked yourself into thinking you were celebrating.
Yes. Oh, that lands. Boy, that lands. Yeah, does that fall into addiction?
Oh, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And you tricked yourself into celebrating, but there was really a sense of loss.
Yes. Yes. Can you say more about that?
If you'd like.
I would like.
So what's coming is the sense of loss around Mishi having to step away.
Yes.
But you had a beautiful session with her. So celebrating felt more uplifting rather than acknowledging the loss you feel, that because she's not fully back yet.
No. And it won't be like real soon that she comes back.
Yeah.
Yes. So
And,
we have a pity party too, right? So there's sort of this combination pity party.
but not wanting to admit it. So
I'm celebrating is, oh my God.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. And
total pity party on my side. Total. With the lie that
oh man, that is something I would do so often when I was actively drinking. Actively in my alcoholism. You bet.
Wow. Wow.
Anything you could turn into a celebration.
And
Yeah,
because a
because
celebration gives you permission to drink or might like eat pastry.
yes, and you don't have, I mean, the celebration is happy. It's
Yes.
uplifting. Where
Yes.
if you're looking at the truth at a painful thing as at a
Yes.
hurtful thing or a loss,
Yes.
that's just hard. There's too much feeling
And it,
attached to that.
for me, candy, pastry, any type of sugary, so whatever, is so comforting. It's so comforting to me. And my Deva has never liked it
Until it isn't
until it isn't.
with
Yeah.
any addiction.
Yes. And it isn't anymore. It really isn't. Like, yeah, it just, I can have like a couple cookies or whatever it is. Sometimes it's just one thing, sometimes it's maybe two of something, whatever. And then I'm done. My body tells me she's done, but I
Yeah.
just keep at it. I just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I know part of it, like, just don't have it in the house. People tell me that all the time. Well, just don't have it in the house. And yes, that is helpful. However, I will find something, or it will make
Yes.
it'll, because it's still there. Like, that's really
That
not,
phenomenon of craving.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's not completely the, yes.
Yeah. And when
And
we have that phenomenon of craving,
mm,
that is a signal that, hello,
yes,
something to look at, something to
yes.
look at.
Something to look at. So is that part of, was I trying to, in a sense, fulfill
I think so.
something?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm just feeling like just in my stomach just because I had so today I have not had any, but
Well, that remorse
yes.
is also part of addiction.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not really helpful. It's
No.
just another way to punish ourselves. It's another way to beat
Yes.
ourselves up.
Yes. So I wonder, we sort of got, this happens a lot with us, and that we start on one topic and kind of move it, but it feels like there's someone out there that needs to hear this. Like, there is
I
some that
agree.
needs to hear part, whether it's the addiction part, the just the gluttonous part, whatever it is, the loss, so I'm trying to make up, or if it's specifically the pastry part, the watching TV part, something. So we
Mhm.
hope whoever you are, or there might be more than one, that this has been helpful to you. It's been helpful to me. It helps to talk about it. It helps to be honest and get that out, because it's
Mhm.
the more you hold stuff in, the worse it gets. Like, lies are detrimental to all of
Yes,
us, and
they
you have to
are.
shed light on it to bring it out into the open. There's that vulnerability piece too. Yes,
Mhm.
because we're afraid to be vulnerable.
We are. We're afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to be honest.
Yep.
Um, and honesty, well, the best way to be honest, first and foremost, is to be honest with ourselves.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's tricky.
Yes.
That's really tricky.
Yes.
Um, and even in doing that and being honest with ourselves brings vulnerability with ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so many of us, and it shows in different ways in every family, but we were brought up there's always places in our childhood where we tried to get away from vulnerability because it the consequences that came from that,
Yes.
and then they just continue on into adulthood and they become bigger and more convoluted
Yep.
and just buries us. Yeah. So we just sort of become something that we become just a caricature of who we really are at times. I mean, I know for myself, there was in certain situations, that wasn't me. I was just so afraid to show the real me because of whatever reason, all you know, reasons, you know? And just because, and I was just a caricature. And I'm no longer that caricature.
Mhm.
There are still certain situations I don't know if I've been in to test myself yet. So when that happens, I'll let y'all know if I was able to be authentic in those situations or not. I think I'm getting better. But
Yeah, I was just shown a memory of something very recent where I was not authentic.
oh, do tell. I mean, if you want to, you don't have to.
Um, well, we're talking about being vulnerable and honesty,
Yes.
and I was visiting my niece, and we were in Costco,
Mhm.
and I had picked up an ice cream treat that I had been wanting to try because our Costco here didn't.
Oh,
And when I got to the cart with it, I was told, well, that's just going to melt because we weren't going right home. We were going to be out for.
oh, yes.
My reaction was indignation.
Ah.
And I turned around and I went and I put it back and continued to be indignant.
Yes. Because
But
that
there
feels
was,
better than completely being
yeah,
vulnerable. You were obviously vulnerable, or it hit
yes.
you
Now, why I was vulnerable is kind of the question, but there
right.
was
Yes.
something that triggered vulnerability. And
Yes.
instead of saying, that's okay,
Yes.
I,
Or,
I don't, I
oh
don't care.
damn, you're right. Shoot.
Or yes,
Right. Thank you for saying something. Yeah.
yes,
And you couldn't go there.
I could not
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
Um, don't know
Yeah.
why,
Yeah.
but that's what happened.
Vulnerability is a rough one.
It is, even for someone like me who generally has no trouble being vulnerable.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I can't say no trouble, but I don't. It's not always easy, but I don't generally shy away from vulnerability.
Yeah.
But in that instant,
Hmm.
oh, uh-uh.
Yeah.
Not, I was not going there in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since you're sharing what just came up for me, there's this this woman that I see on occasion. I can't say who it is because I don't want it to, that would not be
Sure.
a kind thing for me to do. But she and I at one time had been fairly good friends. And then she, um, we had a falling out, sort of. And well, not sort of, it was a big one. And then we had a conversation and sort of, but I don't trust her now. The way the falling out happened, I no longer trust her. So I used to be really authentic with her. That was who I was. Since that time, it's gone now she if I see her, she comes in the room or whatever, I almost collapse in on myself.
Oh,
And I don't speak to her at all. And if I do, I almost like don't even look at her. Well, there are times when if I could be doing something else, I will be doing that other thing when she comes up, and then I can say, "Oh, hi," as I'm looking the other direction.
sure.
Yes. So
Yeah.
definitely something for me to look into. But that's another situation of it's kind of in reverse, but it's the same thing
Hmm. Yeah.
because I am not going to let her hurt me again, is what that feels like.
Hmm.
There is
And it
no
just
way.
goes to prove that we are never done healing.
Never. No, never.
Never.
No,
Mm-mm,
no. Mm-mm. No, we're not.
mm-mm.
Yeah.
But that is what we're here for. I
That is
mean,
what we're here for. Yep.
that is the human path.
Yes. And so when we feel like we're on our path and everything's going great, what does that mean? So we just got done talking about what happens when we feel like like when that situation happens and I see her and
Yep.
I close down everything, I
Yep.
feel like I've taken a step backward. Like, God damn. Afterwards, I just feel like, Pam, why couldn't you just stand up and say something? What are you doing? Like, you're a grown ass woman. Act like it. But
That's exactly, that is verbatim what I said to myself. A grown-ass woman, and I just certainly did not act like
yeah, no, not at all. Like that 5-year-old just came out, like crossed down. I'm not
Yep.
talking to you. That like this total child. Oh, got some more healing to do for sure.
But we
Yeah.
were firmly on our path in those
Yes.
moments, each of us.
Yes. And spirit is bringing something around for us to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those times when we feel like we're on our path, we are excelling and everything is wonderful. We are in respite,
Okay. Okay. Yes.
still on our path,
Still on our path.
kind of
And
cruising. Kind of
what
cruising though.
kind of cruising? Well, what comes is if we didn't get those moments of respite, it would possibly be so overwhelming. Like all of
Oh.
our circuits would just be shot. And we
Mhm.
do ah there's we do have to have those moments of saying, I'm not so bad. Oh, okay. I can do this. Like that inspiration to keep going, that those
Right.
moments of guided inspiration to keep us moving toward our target. And if
Yeah.
we didn't have that, if every moment of every day was in that, we'd all be
We'd
I
get lost in the dark.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So those times, it's almost like a reward.
A reward. Yeah.
Yeah. And spirit's way of saying, you are an amazing human being. You are doing your job. And being human is hard. It is hard. That's why we don't always want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, our path, I mean, because when I think of a path,
Hmm.
I just think of this flat land, right? We're just walking along the path.
Yeah.
But it's more like climbing, 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 climbing. Oh, here's a plateau.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, time to climb again.
Yes.
And another plateau.
Yes.
And every once in a while, there's a plateau above the plateau,
Yes. Above the plateau.
above the plateau.
Yeah.
But then there's more climbing. We're always,
And I
yeah.
guess what's coming through now is when we have those times to be grateful for them, to acknowledge them, to acknowledge who we are, and that we are being given this moment of it's almost reflection, but you don't necessarily have it's not okay. There's reflection and there's reflection.
Right.
Yeah. This is not a deep dive type reflection, but just a wow, I am so grateful for all of these things that I have in my life. I'm grateful for myself. I'm grateful for spirit. I'm grateful, grateful, grateful.
Mhm. And periodically, there are those times of reflection where we
Yes.
get to look back
Yes.
and acknowledge how much work we've done.
Yes. So yesterday I was stuffing that. Whatever
Literally,
I but yes,
literally.
yes, yes. I was stuffing. So I could have been more productive by allowing myself to feel what I needed to feel,
Yep.
to reflect and just allow. And as and as a teacher and a healer, I'm telling you, I tell this to my clients and students all the time. I'm really good about telling
Yep. Yep.
them. So
Yeah.
apparently do as I say, not as I do.
Not as I do. Well, and what came for me in my habit of TV watching is I am bypassing that step.
Yes. Oh, that lands 100%.
I am bypassing that reflection of how far I've come.
Yes.
And when we don't do that, we really stay stuck in
Oh,
where we were
yes.
until we can acknowledge the work and the growth and the expansion
Yes.
and really give ourselves credit for it. We are stuck in where we were.
So those of you who are wondering, well, Pam, what do you do now? Like, what are, because maybe you just went through that, you are going through it, you totally, oh man, I know where I do that in my life, where I'm stuffing and it's really now for me to sit quietly
Mhm.
so I would get grounded, I will get in my channel and I will sit quietly, not ask. And when I say quietly, that does not mean what is it, what is it, what is it, what's going on. It's not tons of questions. Spirit knows why you're sitting there quietly and what you're needing. But to set that intention, to find out, and this is what I will do, what is it that I'm bypassing? And I'd like clarity on that, and to sit with it and let it come without judging myself, but
Mhm.
allow myself to go there, to be very honest. And then when I do get some clarity on that, to call my BFF here and get a healing, get an energy healing, and talk about it as well. So that's what I will do, because there's clearly something there. It's more than just I see it as, and Mari-Lyn, please tell me if I'm wrong, but the stuffing my face with pastry is not, I mean, yes, that's an issue and I can deal with that issue, but that's separate from the reason why.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because there is a deeper reason. Yeah. So that would be,
Yeah.
and then, yeah. And I want to say I don't do that very often, but I kind of do.
Well, that is subjective. I am going to
Yes.
say that is subjective.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because really saying I do that so often. I mean, you could do that once every 6 months and that could still be so often.
True.
So I'm going to say you really don't do it all that often.
True.
Because for me, often would be like, every couple days.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do it every couple days.
I don't think you do it as often as you were thinking
Well,
in the
I'm in my
moment.
little pity party right now,
Um,
So, yes.
so,
When you're in a
but
pity party, everything is worse.
it's true.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that well.
Uh-huh.
But for me, in bypassing, looking at how far I've come, there's work for me to do there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will have to, do that. I will get grounded. I will get in my channel. And I think the first thing I need to listen for is, why am I not allowing myself to look at how far I've come?
Yeah.
Why am I sitting there with my foot on the gas and
On
my
the
foot on the
break.
brake?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Mm-hmm.
um, quite possibly, well, I definitely will call my BFF and talk it over. There might be a healing that needs to happen in that.
Mhm.
But then I will also have to ask either Pam or Spirit, probably both of them, to really help me look at the progress.
Yes, very
Because if I'm bypassing it that fiercely, I'm blocking something.
yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there is work to be done there as well.
And every time, I can't say this enough, every time we heal, we are rewarded with something beautiful.
Every
Because
time.
we don't just block the bad, good is being blocked as well. And I'm going to say good and bad, even though those aren't really the term. But when we do that, we think we're blocking out that pain, the hurt feelings, the whatever it is. We're not just blocking. You cannot pick and choose like that. It doesn't.
No, you can't. A block is a block is a block.
And it's blocking everything.
Yeah.
And while you were talking, I know that there is sort of this way of thinking out there that, oh, don't look at your past. Always just look forward. Blah, blah, blah. You have to look at your past. Now, do you dwell?
No.
There is an area of, there is of dwelling and pity party, that kind of pity party. That's what
Morbid reflection.
Ooh, I like that. I mean, I don't like it, but I like the term.
Yes. Because we do have to reflect on our past, on our mistakes, on our wounds, on our trauma. But when we get to that place where we're dwelling in it and we're rolling in it, it really does become morbid reflection.
Yes. And that's not healthy. That's not what we're talking about when we talk about healing wounds and trauma. It's not about reliving it and being in it.
Not at
all. It really
all.
is not.
No.
Which is one thing that I love about energy healing. The emotion of the time can come up, even pictures or whatever of, say, the trauma, and it's moved through you and out, and it unplugs you from it, and then you get the chance to see the truth and how it has shaped you. But you have to look back. But I know, Mari-Lyn, you've heard people say that too. Oh, never look back. Always
never look back.
Forward. Never go. It's like, what are you talking about? And history repeats itself, by the way.
It's exactly what I was going to say. History will repeat itself.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
Yes. So
yeah.
Do you think it's in, I answer my own question, but how we look back into the past, how we are looking at it?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It is important in how we look at it. It's important actually that we look at it from different perspectives even.
Yes. Yes.
And that can be hard.
Very hard. And that part's really nice about a good healer, whether that's a talk therapist or an energy healer or whomever, is when that to have someone else say, oh, well, this is what I see, or this is my perspective on it, and to hear someone else's perspective can really just pull you right out and go, oh,
yes,
okay, because our wounding and our trauma, we're it's so narrow the way we're looking at it, and that's the way. I mean, we're looking at it through our pain,
right,
and through the heartache of it and the trauma, and to have someone else help expand that open and look at the truth of what happened. And that that goes into a whole other thing, and I'm not going there.
Okay.
Thank you, Spirit. But yes, so
I saw a tap on your shoulder, actually.
I did. It's Fred.
Maybe that's enough there.
Yeah, stop. Save that for Pam Ponders. So I'll put out another video. That'll be a Pam Ponders one.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna say what I said at the beginning. 3 words.
Yeah.
New Year's intentions, I'll say this time.
New
And I
Year's
don't know what
intentions.
mine are going to be. I like your fulfilling one though.
Yeah.
Healthy eating for me.
Fulfillment, healthy
Healthier
eating.
Deva. Healthier Deva for me.
Yes. And changing my criteria of self-care.
Yes.
And I think 3 is quite a nice number for
yes.
New Year's intentions.
That's enough, sister. And you might have to revisit them. Or maybe if you when you fulfill one, you can replace it with another intention. It's not like you only make them once a year. This just happens to be that jumping off point.
Right.
That new.
Right. So what's coming for me is that if I am able to change that criteria of self-care and follow through with that, part of that is going to be changing my eating habits. I mean,
yeah,
that just falls right in there.
Yes. Yes.
That I'm not going to have to look for what fulfills me. It's just going to come.
Yes. I agree with that. Because that will open you up to more possibilities.
Yes.
Expand. We want that expansion.
We want the expansion. Because when we are actively looking for a thing, don't we usually have an expectation attached to that?
Always. Always. And if someone can tell me a time when there's no expectation, I'd be glad to hear that. But yes.
Yeah. And yes. I mean, Fred knows how much I've worked on letting go of expectations.
And you've
and it's hard. I think that's going to be a lifetime.
That's a mastery thing, I would think. Don't you think? That's a
mastery. How many masteries can we have in one lifetime?
Oh, I think a lot, because I think some, obviously we don't master it.
True.
And so we come back, there's lifetimes where we're still working on that
mastery.
Because
I think you're right. I think letting go of or eliminating or expectations is a mastery of mine, as is humility. And I think those two cross paths.
What I'm getting from spirit right now is when we, so let's say you don't master expectation this lifetime.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of thinking you're not going to. Sorry to tell you. But the good news is
I will let go of that expectation then. Oh, dang it. Okay, thank you. Ugh.
When you come back, when your next lifetime, you don't start all the way at the beginning again. You start where you left off.
That is true.
Yes. And I actually never thought about that. I don't know why, but I didn't. But that's just what came through now is, be nice to yourself. Like, it's okay. Like, it just builds on itself. You're not going complete. What is? Yes. Okay.
I kind of feel like I just got kicked in the gut.
Well, that's a good thing. A spirit kick in the gut is a good one. That's a good one.
And we actually were talking about that earlier today.
Yes.
But when you said, I'm not going to master that this lifetime, that is the feeling, that kick in the gut.
Yes.
But I'm going to take that as a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. And it's meant to be. Like, take the expectation out of the expectations. You are here to work on that in this lifetime, but you're not going to master it. But look at all the other things that you've mastered.
And honestly, that kind of takes
the pressure off.
Takes some of the pressure off.
Oh, good. Yay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what other things I've mastered in this lifetime, but I am giving humility hell, boy.
Yes, you are. Now that one, you will master.
Ooh,
That
holding
one you're
thumbs.
going,
I am holding
hold
thumbs on
thumbs.
that. I hope so.
Yes.
I
I
hope
I
so.
absolutely believe that. I think you're right there. Yes. And yeah. And I kind of so one of my mastery, which I have mastered in this lifetime and I'm so grateful, is dignity. And
Yes.
that was biggie, a biggie.
Yes.
And for me, that's just the foundation of then self-worth and et cetera. That's all on top of it. So I was down, like that was foundational. I wanted a big party when I mastered that. I truly I wanted a big cake. But I just have to know that I sort of joke with that because it was
Well,
beautiful to sort of, now that
but your lifetime's
know
not
what
over yet.
that's true.
You have a lot of lifetime left
Yes.
for that party to happen.
Yes. And lifetimes, more of those. I'm sure this will not be. There are times when I think, oh hell
No,
no,
but
I'm not
in
coming
the
back
whole
again.
in the whole celebration of mastering that dignity,
Yes.
I mean, seriously, there is that feeling that celebration is still yet to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I like
Yeah.
the thought of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That feels really good.
It does. Feels
Yeah.
lovely. And it feels really awesome to have dignity. To truly know what that feels like, to wake up with it, to be in
Yeah.
it. And now I'm being now I'm being reminded when I do see that person that I told you about, to remember I now have dignity.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing else I can feel at that moment, I can feel that. And actually, I think I might when I see her. I'm gonna have to. I will the next time I really like. I kind of. It's a little traumatic when I see her, and I
I
see her.
understand that. Yeah.
I see her off. It's not like I can't have her in my life because she's in my life, in sort of peripheral, but she's there, and I'm going to see her.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll have to think about that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'm curious, and I'm going to ask you.
Uh-oh.
I had channeled some beautiful information about expectations like over a year ago. And it
Mm-hmm.
was I had put it in one of my blogs about expectation. Do you feel like now is an appropriate time to read that? Or is that a whole nother podcast?
Kind of, I feel both.
Both?
Yeah. And so it's really up to you if you, I mean, because that's going to be one of your, okay. So possibly that's one of your personal podcasts.
Oh, on my recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
That feels good.
Yeah. I think that's what that is. Yeah. And that's why I think the feeling of both came in, was because it was meant for you, seriously, for you to really feel that and expand on it and express it and feel it, understand, the whole thing. So yeah, that'll
And
be a beautiful one.
Truly was and still is. Every time I read it, it was instrumental in me getting a grasp on just how unrealistic my expectations were in so many areas of life.
And we all have. So here's something, since you brought that, we spend so much time out of our bodies. And it's not just, so as we all know, I used to dissociate. And all of us just have we all dissociate some. Daydreaming is that's a way of dissociating. So we all jump out of our body all the time. That's
Sure.
just when we live out there and we're not grounded in our bodies and present. We live out there, and I think that we really expect a lot out there. We daydream, we think of ourselves in these situations, and then we come, we kind of get moments of clarity in our body, and then we get upset with ourselves. And why can't we have that? Or here's another, see, I'm going right into another podcast and I need to stop there. So I was going to bring that all together. But
well, darn it, because I was like right there with you. I'm like,
see, this is what a best friend does. They go right along with you. Yes. Well, okay. So then let's talk just a smidgy about it then.
Sure, that'd be great.
So if we bring it back to our intentions and creating our intentions for the year.
Yeah.
People talk about setting too high of expectations for ourselves, setting those goals too high, bring them down. I would say that applies here. Come into your body, be grounded. And if you need help grounding, when we first started this channel, just over a year ago, we did some meditations, and there's some beautiful, very grounding. You can go listen to those and
yes,
be grounded, be present, make your expectations from that place. And that will give you a better chance of attaining those I almost said expectations, those intentions, and
those intentions, those
goals for yourself. Because when we're out of our body and we're thinking of all of this, well, we'll go other way. We're either just not like we're a piece of shit. Truly, when you're out of your body, you can go to that place of I'm a piece of crap. I can't do anything with my life. I'm stupid. I'm bad, whatever. We also dream way ahead of ourselves. So many steps ahead that there's no way you can make all those steps in a year. So come on in, get grounded, be realistic about your intentions, and reevaluate them even if it's every month.
As often as you feel called, because an intention can take you, it can take you a little ways or it can take you a long ways, but in that intention, something else might pop up and you go, ooh,
yes,
but that wasn't my intention, but ooh,
yes.
And okay, open it up.
Yes.
Revisit, set a new intention.
Yes. And you have to be, and yes, when I say have to, I mean have to be grounded and present.
Yes.
You have to be grounded and present to see those beautiful little bursts of hope and inspiration and gifts, those little presents that spirit brings for us.
And doors can look so different than a door.
Yes. And also, spirit rarely brings you something the way you think. That expectation of how you want it to look.
Rarely.
Yes. And if you're not in your body, you will miss it.
Does it ever come the way we think it's going to?
Not really.
Not really.
So what I think of is when I was first looking for a physical space, this was not the first one. So those of you who are listening, I am sitting in front of a picture of our old TCS space that we love so much. This was not our first one. This was my third one. I knew I wanted a space. I had it all in my head, exactly how I wanted to look and everything. Did I get a space that I could work in? Yes, I got all that. It looked zero. Oh, it was zippity doo dah. Did not look like it at all. So Can it manifest for you? Yes. But the way it's going to look, it was, and it was better than I wanted. And at the same time, it was a stepping stone for
Excuse
me
me.
to get to where I needed to be or wanted to be, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So, set those beautiful intentions for the new year. I think it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Like Meredith, check in on them.
Yes, and checking in on them is important again for another reason.
And it's not to beat yourself up.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we set an intention and we might go a couple of days and then rethink it and go, what was I thinking?
Yes.
No, that's not. And that is okay.
Yep.
To
Absolutely.
change the intention to something that really resonates with you.
Yes.
Maybe you set it because you thought someone else wanted you to set it,
Yes.
or you set it to
Yeah.
to impress someone, or who knows, maybe it wasn't the right thing.
Or just because if I set my intentions to be healthier and I go on another binge, to not beat
Yes.
myself up over that. There was something there. There's something there that I need to look
Yes.
at to heal. So that's actually a blessing. It's a blessing. And then I can get right back on there and go for that, physically trying to be healthier.
Yeah. And maybe even the intention needs to be tweaked a little bit. Maybe you set yourself up to fail.
Ooh, I think a lot of us do that. I
I
mean,
do
I'll
it.
claim that for myself, but I think a lot of people do. That's why they don't think. What's coming through now is you don't think that, because it wasn't it wasn't a spirit-led intention.
Oh, it was ego.
It was ego. It was ego.
It was ego. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I just got some clarity. I just got some clarity as to why I have not changed my eating habits yet,
Oh, okay.
because that intention was fully ego driven.
Yep.
Fully ego
Absolutely.
driven.
Yes.
Had absolutely nothing to do.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with the actual health and well-being of my body.
Right.
It was 100% ego.
Oh. Yes. 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 So those
And
expectations.
and I'm going to use vanity.
Vanity. Sure. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes. Now it's good. Now you can get grounded and look at it in a spirit-led way. And what is
Yes.
it that I'm really going for here? What is truly my intention here? What is truly for my highest good that I can work on? And I really think a lot of intentions are really, what can I work on too?
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes that intention takes a left turn because it's supposed to, because whatever that intention one just is, it's not for your highest. That's really not what this is. It's something
Yeah.
else. Yes.
Yep.
I'm going to set the intention to not just listen to my body, damn it. Because I listen, I hear her, I just ignore her.
And then ignore her. Me too.
When she was screaming at me that she had a gut ache and she was getting a headache and
Yep.
everything felt gross and inflamed, I
Yep.
ignored her. I ignored her.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and had I been fully in my body, I would not have, by the way. I think that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Making sure you're there.
I am a daydreamer.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't very happy when I learned that that was a form of dissociating. I mean, but it is.
Yes.
But I am a daydreamer.
Yep.
And if I would take a little more accountability
Mm-hmm.
and a little less daydreaming,
Yeah. Now, those of you who are saying, well, what's wrong with daydreaming?
Oh,
There, yeah,
nothing
nothing. There
until
is until it
until
is.
there is.
Yes. Now, a small daydream about where I want to be, like I could daydream about my career, where I'm headed. I'm starting something new, and so daydream about that. But when you spend hours, day, weeks, month, still really still dream about that same
Yep.
old,
You're bypassing big
you
time.
are bypassing,
Yes.
and you're not doing the steps to make that a reality.
Exactly.
Because just daydreaming about it, dissociating into it, I think would be a better way. You're not doing the steps to get you there.
And
So
there's
there
no
is daydreaming,
accountability.
and there, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yep. So daydreaming on itself, not a bad thing.
Not
That's
at all.
how we inspire ourselves to get moving and to get going. So daydream is great if there's action behind it.
Yes.
Oh, look at me.
Look at that. That was awesome.
Hey, yes.
That's a bumper sticker.
I know.
I'm getting
Yes,
out the
it is.
cricket. Getting out the cricket.
Yes, yes. Might have to write that down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That was good.
With action behind it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Is this a good place to stop?
I think so.
Yeah. Wow. This has been awesome.
It was fulfilling for me.
Yes. Yes. And let us know. I do kind of want to know, but I kind of don't want to know because this is our thing. But we go off on so many different things. I assume there's probably people out there that can't follow. Certainly
Oh, because we're going like
yes.
go off and off.
I think most of our people probably can do. Yeah. And they might have to chop it up to listen to this in bits and pieces. Because that's one of the beauties of podcasts too, is you don't just sit down
True.
and watch it all at once.
Right.
I don't know how long this one is, but yeah. So wow, thanks.
So you were asking you were asking them to let us know. Let us know what?
Oh, did I not finish? See,
No.
Can you all follow me? Okay, so when Mari-Lyn can't follow, if you're not able to follow us, like, do we go off on too many directions and it becomes too? But I really don't want to know. At the same time, it's like, you know what? Because those of you who can do enjoy it, and we do hear those. We actually do. People let us know. Usually, it's via email.
Yeah,
how much
usually it is.
Enjoy it.
These podcasts for me are so fabulous because this is how our conversations go.
Yes. Yes. These are especially like today. That's a true Pam and Mari-Lyn. Actually, there would have been a couple more places we went off to, but we go back because of the podcast.
Yes.
Yes. Because we would have gone a whole nother hour in some other direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is also how. So when people talk about meditation or whatever, and we talk about it's about receiving and communing with spirit, this is how Mari-Lyn and I very often, this is our communing with spirit. We are both sitting in our channels and we are talking and we are receiving and we are expressing ourselves. And so yeah, this is a commune with spirit kind of thing for us. Yeah. So people that ask, do you meditate? Not really, but this is kind of meditation. We do meditations too. Once a week, we do a big, full-on thing. But yeah. So anyway, this has been great.
It has. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes, and hopefully you might hear from us again before the new year. I doubt it.
Hard to say.
Hard to say. Yes.
Yeah.
We might get an individual one from each of us. You will get an individual one from each of us before the new year. Yes. And I just put those ones on the podcast, theconsciousspirit.net, and I don't put those on YouTube.
On the YouTube.
Yes, because I'm usually somewhere doing something or maybe I just woke up or whatever, and me on video is not going to work. So I just record it. Yeah. So anyway, this has been
Yeah,
wonderful. Thank you so much for taking this beautiful journey with us, being a part of our journey. We're so very
absolutely.
grateful. So very
We
grateful.
are.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Anything else we want to say? No.
I
No.
set those intentions and
Yes. Yes.
um yeah,
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yep. You got this.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to
Till
you
next
soon.
time.
Bye.
Bye.